I would say it's a pretty easy one. We're learning about the layers panel. So first thing you'll do is come into your course, go under content, and then of course, open up that Cengage textbook. If you get a login screen, that of course means that you need to disable your pop-up blockers. Then you'll go into Unit 1, Chapter 3, and we only have 2 files for Chapter 3. We're actually going to be using 3-1 for the entire chapter. So it's going to tell you a couple of times to open 3-2, 3-3, 3- whatever. We're not doing that. We're just going to use the same file throughout, and I've put some notes in Cengage for certain little quirks or whatnot that you might run into. And then 3-5, we're just going to be cutting out a ring from there and using it in 3-1. So I've gone ahead, downloaded those, and put them in a file on my desktop so that they are easy to find. My pages are not though. There we go. All right. So Unit 1, Chapter 3, working with layers. And if you've taken Illustrator, the layer panel in Photoshop works as far as like the operations go, almost exactly the same. It's even the same keyboard shortcut, F7 to open the layers panel. However, layers in Photoshop work differently in that you generally don't put multiple things on one layer. You usually have one layer for each thing. So that's one of the big differences here. So the note here says open PS 3-1, save it as Roman holiday. Be sure you don't save the file again until you're instructed to. And so when you see these little orange highlights, just click on those. And I have little notes for you to download the files, open your Photoshop app. I get this question a lot for some reason. If you haven't trained your files to open in Photoshop and you go straight to them and try to double click them, your computer is going to default to some random program because we haven't trained them to open in Photoshop. So for right now, we're just going and opening through Photoshop by going File, Open, finding 3-1, and Open. So then we're going to change some of our preferences. Go to the Photoshop menu, go to Photoshop menu on Mac or Edit menu on Windows, go to Preferences and click General. So sorry, I skipped a step. Let's do this. Save as. Very important that we save as Roman holiday. Okay. Now we go to Edit, Preferences, General. And so here we're going to make sure that our options match their options. This legacy-free transform is on, and this use legacy new documents interface is on. And this is just going to make sure that if we're using older files in our new version of Photoshop, that they will match up and allow us to use those. So make sure those are on, then click OK. All right, and then on the layers panel, note the size of the thumbnail for each layer. Now, by default in the workspace that we made in Chapter 1, I have my layers panel here. If you don't see it, go to Window and find Layers or use keyboard shortcut F7. So in the layers panel, we can change so that these thumbnails are bigger and you can see them better. I probably won't leave mine this way because I am doing split screens right now, so I need it to be a little bit smaller. But you'll just go in here and do panel options. And every single panel has a little panel options menu. So it's these little 4 lines or so up here. So whenever you see panel options menu, that's what you're looking for. And so you can make these large like this if you would like, so you can see what is on each layer. All right, and it says, note that all the layers have been given a name except for layer 1. Aww. So we're going to double click on layer 1 and rename it couple. So there's a couple of things to note when you're, go into my move tool here, when you're selecting layers. So if you select out here, your layer is highlighted, which means it's currently your active layer. If you double click in this space, you'll get a layer style menu. All right, that's not what we're using right now, but you'll be using that layer. If you double click on the actual name, so we're renaming layer 1, if you actually double click in there, then you can rename. So name it couple. And then it says save the file. So file, save. Now we're going to click the I button on the pen layer repeatedly. These little I buttons here allow you to see what's on the layer. To show and hide what's on the layer. Let me move this into a better view. There you go. So flip that on and off a couple of times, see how that works. Then it says click and drag vertically over multiple I buttons on the layers panel. So if I just hold my mouse down and I go over all of them, they disappear. Then I can go over all of them again and they come back. Now hold Option on Mac or Alt on your Windows keyboard and click the I button on the couple layer. So Alt I, and so that hides everything except for the layer that I targeted. Still holding Alt, click the I button on the couple layer and they will all become visible again. Now target the Colosseum layer, and I highlighted and put a note on you for that. When they say target, that means that the layer will be highlighted. So Colosseum, just click on it, and when you see whatever color you have your app set up in, when you see the highlight version of that color, that means it is targeted. All right, so now click the opacity slider at the top of the layers panel and drag the slider to 50. So up here, I'm just gonna type 50. And so you can see the little Colosseum picture is now see-through. Now click the Move tool and press the number 2 on your keypad. So that will take it down to 20%. 20%, Now click anywhere on the coin layer to target it. Press letter V on the keypad to verify that you have the Move tool. And sorry, I'm gonna move this. And float over the coin artwork. Then click and drag to move it to another position on your canvas. All right. There you go, move that around. Now target the couple layer, press Command or Control, then click the pen layer. So couple layer, Control, pen layer. This will allow us to select 2 layers that are not next to each other, unlike Shift, which only allows you to select them when they are adjacent. Okay, now drag couple and pen artwork to another location on the canvas. So you see those move together. Now we're going to revert. So go to File. Sorry, I can't see anything. Revert. There we go. And so that takes us back to where we started. Target the coin layer, click and drag it up to the top of the layers panel. So your layers panel works in hierarchy. So whatever is at the top is the frontmost object, and whatever is at the bottom is the backmost object. So when we take coin, which is now behind a couple of things, and we just click and drag it, you can see how the little lines here will highlight. But we click and drag it, it will now come to the front. Verify the coin layer is still targeted, and then press Command or Control J. This should make it copy, I think. Yep. All right. And now enter Command Control J again. Make another copy. Click and drag coin copy 2 to the delete button on the layers panel, and the layer is deleted. So drag it down here to the little trash can, drop it off, and it's gone. Target coin copy layer, press Shift, then press the right arrow on your keyboard 6 times. All right, so we have coin copy layer. We're gonna hold down Shift and arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see it moved away from its copy in a very controlled way with our little arrows there. So now target both coin and coin copy layers. Click the layers panel menu and then click merge layers. So holding Shift because they're next to each other. Then I'll go into my panel options menu and I will find merge layers. So you will do this only if you have 2 objects that need to be on the same layer, but you normally won't work like this in Photoshop. Like I said, for anybody who's an Illustrator user, I know this is something that we do a lot, but in Photoshop, you're gonna want everything to be on its own layer. All right, so now we'll revert. Sorry, y'all, I can't see anything. There we go. Okay, so now we're back to where we started and target the couple layer. Press and hold Command or Control and then click Create New Layer button on the Layers panel. So these options down here, you hover over them, they tell you what they do. So as I'm holding Control and I am pressing Create New Layer. And so normally when you have a layer selected and you make a new layer, it will make it above. By holding Control, it made it underneath. Now press and hold Command or Control and click the thumbnail image on the couple layer. And so that has selected the little picture that's on the couple layer. Click Select on the mini bar, Modify, and Feather. Select, Modify, Feather. And we're going to enter 4, which mine's already at 4 in the feather radius, and then click OK. Press letter D on your keypad to see the foreground, the default foreground and background. So black and white there. Press and hold Option Mac or Alt on Windows and delete on your keyboard. So this will fill that selection there with black. Deselect, then click the Move tool on the toolbar. So we'll do Control D to deselect, V to select our Move tool. Press and hold Shift on your keypad, then press the down arrow on your keypad 3 times. So Shift, 1, 2, 3. So you can see we've created kind of a little drop shadow there. Set the opacity on the couple layer shadow to 50%. All right, so up here we'll enter 50. So now you can see it's a nice little shadow there. All right, and then save your work. So file, save. All right, we all good with that? Let's move into lesson 2. So lesson 2 talks about transformations, which on your keyboard is Command or Control T, or you can go with something selected and go into Edit, and then you have Transform under that menu. When we're talking about point of origin, so when something rotates or reflects, you have the point of origin from which it does that. So for instance, like if I wanted to rotate this image, the center point is where it would rotate around. However, if I move that center point over here, then the image would rotate around the corner. All right, and so I did put a note here that we are going to be using the same file, so don't worry about opening up a different file. Target the Coliseum layer, click Edit on the menu bar, point to Transform, and click Scale. So Coliseum, Edit, Transform, Scale. And so you see the little crosshairs there. That defines my point of origin. Okay. Position the mouse pointer over the lower right corner handle until the double-headed arrow appears, then click and drag different directions to modify the image and release your mouse pointer. So if you kind of hover here, you see there's this little double arrow. It's not curved. We're not rotating. We're scaling, so it's straight. And then did it tell me to hold anything? Okay, did not. So if I just kind of move this around, it's very willy-nilly. It's not going to hold the aspect ratio of my picture. It's going to let me stretch it out and distort it as much as I would like. There's also a note here. I'm sorry, I didn't point this out. If you don't see a crosshair pointer in the center of the bounding box, click Edit or Photoshop on Mac and the menu bar and go to Preferences, Tools, and then click Show Reference Point when using Transform. So if you don't see this, then you need to go through those steps. So once you've kind of played with this, then you're going to do Undo. Position the mouse pointer in the lower right corner handle, press and hold Shift and drag in different directions. So when you hold Shift, you are maintaining what they call aspect ratio, meaning that this picture is going to stay the same proportions no matter how big or small you make it. All right, and then undo. On the options panel, double click the W box, type 80, tab, then 80 in the H box, which is height, and then press tab. So width, double click, 80, height, double click, 80. And then, I'm sorry, you're supposed to press tab to go in between those. I was clicking. And so I just scaled down the width and the height to be at 80%. Now press the Escape key and to cancel your last transformation. All right, and that took it back to where I started. Click and drag the coin layer to the top of the layers panel so that the coin artwork is the topmost object. The coin to the top. Then click the coin layer, enter Control or Command J 2 times to create 2 duplicate layers. So Control J, 1, 2. Rename the layers bottom coin, middle coin, and top coin. So I'll name the top one top coin. Middle coin. Bottom coin. Drag the bottom coin layer down below the couple layer, then position it on the artwork as shown in figure 11. Okay, so bottom coin is going under couple. And then let me stretch this out a little bit. So I have my move tool here. I have bottom coin highlighted, and I'm just going to move it out beside the picture. Target bottom coin layer, press Command or Control T, then drag the crosshair icon to the position shown. So it will be here, and we're going to move it out to the side. Okay, so the layer is targeted. Then I do Control T and make a little crosshair, hover over it, hold down my mouse, and then I can move it. So press and hold Shift Option on your Mac or Shift Alt on Windows. Position the mouse pointer over the lower left handle. Drag to experiment with resizing the coin. Okay. So Shift and Alt. And so it's coming out from my point of origin there, but maintaining aspect ratio because I am holding Shift. Now undo. A lot of experimenting. A lot of experimenting with this coin today, huh? Okay, now double click the W text box in the options panel, type 67, press tab, type 67 in the height box, and then press tab. So it's still selected. Double click in here, 67, tab, 67, tab, and it has been resized. Now click return or enter to execute the transformation. There we go. For some reason, I've had to click both buttons, escape and enter twice. I don't know if that's happening to you, but that's been my deal. All right, so target the couple layer, click edit on the menu, transform, then click flip horizontal. The artwork is flipped horizontally. So we're going to go couple here, and then edit, transform, and at the very bottom, we have flip horizontal. So this is one of those instances of using the same file. So because we made this drop shadow earlier, and it's not addressed in here because it's a different file, we want to go ahead and hide it. You can flip it as well if you would like. So if you wanted to select the layer one, I think it's supposed to be called couple shadow, you're more than welcome to. But I would just go ahead and just click the little eyeball and turn it off. And that way, when I'm grading it, I can see that it's there. Okay. So now click the bottom coin layer, then press Command or Control T So bottom coin, Control T. Press and hold Shift, then position your mouse outside the bounding box so that you get the rotate icon. All right. Hold on, I forgot the. Sorry, the cat is bothering me. Okay, so you have this little rotate symbol here. And if I have Shift on, it rotates a little bit slower than it does if I don't have Shift on. You can program it to do certain increments if you would like. Okay, so I don't think it gives me, it just tells me to do this. I don't think it gives me any position yet. Okay, so click and drag counterclockwise. Oh, here it is. Until you have -45. Okay, so Shift, holding, negative. I'm not quite there. I'm going to release Shift and see if I get 45 that way. So that's a roundabout. That'll work. So if you are holding Shift and it's not letting you get to certain increments, like it looks like mine are moving in 15-degree increments. So if yours is doing the same thing, then you can just release Shift and try to get as close to 45 as you can. All right, and then we are going to click the Move tool. So V on your keyboard. Are you happy with yourself making all that noise? Okay. So use the same technique, scale, rotate the top coin to resemble figure 15. So on my layers panel, top coin, we'll go ahead and Control T. We'll change the width. We'll do 67 like they did before. Tab 67. So it's about there. Then enter. And then I will kind of hover to the side and holding my Shift key. It's not moving. There it goes. All right. And then just kind of move it around. I'll rotate the other way, actually. Okay. So just look at the pictures, get it about where those are, and that's all that's expected of you. Move on to lesson 3. Are we all good with lesson 2? Rotating and whatnot, scaling. All right, so for lesson 3, we're using the same file. Target the couple layer. Click layer on the menu bar, point to layer style, and then click drop shadow. All right, so in our layer panel, couple layer, we're going to go to our menu, layer, layer style, and then find drop shadow, which is about here. We get this fun dialog box. So you can see in my layers panel, I have now a little effects and drop shadow, little eyeballs, as well as this little symbol here that says FX, which means effects. All right, so in my layer dialog box here, my layer style dialog box, what am I doing? It says position so that you can see. This is going to be a little hard. Hold on. Let me get it somewhere. There we go. All right. So experiment with the opacity slider. Set it to 50. Mine's at 50. Let's set it to 100 and see what happens. Ooh, see, big hard line. No, we'll go back to 50. Set the distance to 35. Oh, y'all, mine are already set up. Nice. Set the spread to 10 and the size to 20. Experiment with dragging the angle wheel. So that's this. This is the direction of your shadow. So you can see in this little box here, it kind of gives you a preview of how it will move. And as soon as you release your mouse, it'll actually move on your picture. Set the angle to 19 degrees. So here, I'm going to type 19. And you're supposed to click OK. I clicked enter. So that's your second way of making a drop shadow. I like that one. It's a little cleaner. That's nice. Okay. So now copy layer styles between layers. This is probably my favorite thing. I can take what I just did here with this drop shadow and I can move this little FX icon onto other objects and it will apply the exact same principles of the drop shadow that I set up for this. So press and hold Option or Alt, drag the FX icon to the Colosseum layer. So let's see, Alt, and where did Colosseum go? That's down here. So I'm just dragging, I'm dropping on the Colosseum layer. And so now on that picture, that same drop shadow is applied. Do y'all hear this cat? She is feeling herself this morning. Just being all kinds of crazy. Okay. So where does it say next? Using same method, copy the layer style from Colosseum to top coin. So now I'll hold Alt and go up here to top coin, drop it there. So now top coin has a drop shadow. On the layers panel, double click drop shadow under Colosseum layer to open the layer styles. Okay, so double click, oops, and that layer styles panel comes back up. Change the distance to 18, then click OK. Double click drop shadow under the top coin layer, change the distance to 14 and the size to 5, then click OK. Double click. So distance is going to be 14, size is going to be 5, and OK. Drag and drop the drop shadow layer from top coin to middle coin and bottom coin. All right, Alt, hold down on the FX, go to middle coin and bottom coin. So everything now has this little drop shadow. Starting with the hiding and showing the Our Roman Holiday layer. We can see that and it's highlighted, so it's selected. So double click right outside of the, the label there to open the little box. And then click the words outer glow in the left column. And if you don't see these, then just go under FX here and just click show all effects. Make sure you click outer glow. And then in the structure section, set the blending mode to screen and the opacity to 75. So blending mode to screen and opacity to 75. Oh, it looks like it's doing it again. Well, I don't know what I've done. That's what it is. All right, let's try one more time. So double click here, check outer glow so that it's on, but then you actually have to click on outer glow to get the options. So we have screen 75, and then this is the square that they're referring to as black. Yours might be white or black. But if it's one or the other and you need to set it to white, just double click, get your color picker and choose white and then OK. In the element section, set the spread to 20 and the size to 60. So here, 20, 60, and then OK. All right, and that's what it's supposed to look like. Now moving on to lesson 4. We are using the same layer. The same file for this one that we're using throughout chapter 3. Target the roses layer. So click on it. And then you're going to mask out the green leaves. So the way we're going to do that is click the Add the Layer Mask button on the Layers panel. So with this selected, down here, you have the Add the Layer Mask. So click this once. And so now you have 2 thumbnails inside of your layer. And so whichever one has these like double lines around it, that's the one that's active. So you can toggle back and forth to see how those work. So press the letter D on the keypad to access your default colors in your foreground and background. And then the letter X to reverse them. Type the letter B, and this will open your brush tool. And in your brush settings on your options panel, you want to set the brush size to 30 and the hardness to 75. So the size, we want 30 and the hardness at 75. And then enter. And then we're going to zoom in on this leaf. And so make sure that you have the right thumbnail here is the one that's active. And then we're going to start making our mask by brushing over the leaf. So, or painting it. And of course, you know, I have no patience for this, so just do the best I can right here. All right. And so now you see my leaf has disappeared from my view, but it is still there. I can still see it in the thumbnail. And then in my mask, I can see where I just colored on top of my leaf. So use the same method to mask out the smaller lower leaf. So I'm just going to scroll down and zoom in to the lower leaf here and do the same thing. Just brushing over it. And it says now compare. So press Command or Control 0 to fit to screen and hold Option or Alt, then click the layer mask thumbnail. All right, so Control 0. and then Alt and click the layer mask thumbnail. And that will show you what you actually drew inside that box. Now click the roses layer thumbnail. So that's this one. Click that back to activate it. Press and hold Shift, then click the layer mask thumbnail. And this will disable it. So if you don't want to see it anymore, you'll have that little red X and the leaves will be back. Press press Shift and click it again, and the mask will come back. Okay, so lesson 5. Again, still using the same file. Target the top coin layer at the top of the layers panel. And then we're going to open PS 3-5, click select on the menu, and then all. So file, open, PS 3-5. And in this one, I have a guide, which may or may not bother you. If it does, you can go to View, Guides, Clear Guides, and that'll make that go away. So now I'm going to go to Select, All, and then I'm going to go to Copy. So Edit, Copy, and it says close the file. And no changes. All right. In the Roman holiday file document, click View on the menu and Fit on Screen. So View. There it is, Fit on Screen. And then paste the artwork. So I have my layers panel open just so you can see what happens when I paste here. Edit, paste, and it makes its own new layer. Rename the new layer Ring. So I'll double click on the current title, name it Ring, and then save. So File, Save. Target the top coin layer and then click Create a New Layer button on the layers panel. So top coin, new layer. Click the foreground color on the toolbar and open the color picker and then pick a green. So you'll click on the black, use your scroller down here, go into green, find a lime green, click OK. Then press and hold Option or Alt and Delete to fill the layer. So Alt, Delete, and now layer 2 is filled with green. Name the layer Temp Green BKG for background. So Temp Green BKG. Enter. Click the ring layer and click Add Layer Mask button on the layers panel. So we're creating the green layer so that it's easy to see. So you'll see what that looks like in just a second. So clicking ring and then add a layer mask. Press the layer B for your brush. And then zoom in on the ring so you can analyze its edge. Okay, so the edge is fairly hard. That's what it says. Okay, so click the brush preset picker arrow on the options panel, choose the appropriate brush size and set the hardness to 75. So I think for size, I'm gonna start at like, I don't know, let's go like 15. Enter. And then click the brush preset arrow on the options panel. Okay, I just did that. Now press the letter D on your keypad and the letter X to verify that your foreground color is black. So D, X. All right. Now mask the ring so that your artwork resembles figure 29. All right, so we'll start out right here. I'm just gonna kind of go around this outline a little bit. As best we can. Don't get sloppy, but mine's being covered up by my layers panel. So that should look awesome. All right, and just take your time. Go around. Oh, I lost it. There it is. Okay. And so then I'm comparing. It's fine. So now press and hold Option or Alt and click the layer mask to see the mask. Okay. So Alt. And there you go. You can see my sad little mask there. So in this mode, we're going to use the magic wand tool to get rid of the background. So click the magic wand tool, set the tolerance to 16, and verify that the contiguous option is checked. So magic wand, 16, anti-alias is off, contiguous is checked. Click the magic wand tool anywhere in the white background. And the entire white background is now selected. Now click Select on the menu, Modify and Expand. Select. I'm looking for the word modify, there it is, and then expand. And then enter 3. All right, so 3 pixels, okay. Now fill the selection with the background, with the black foreground color, then deselect. So remember, to fill your selection, you'll go Alt Delete. Now click the ring artwork thumbnail to show the artwork. All right, so back in here. Oh, look, so much better than my tracing. And then hide the temp green background layer. It also said deselect, which I forgot to do. So Control D, and I'll hide. And look at that. Kind of wonky right there, but yeah, it'll be fine. So now enter Command T or Control T to scale the artwork 75% and rotate 28 degrees. So I'm going to move back into my move tool. And the layer is targeted. So Control T. And now I have my little crosshairs and my bounding box. I'm going to use the options menu here to scale this 75%. So one thing to notice that they may or may not have covered yet is that with your width and your height, you have this little link in between them that if you click that on, whatever you do in your width will also apply to your height. So if you wanted to just do 75% in one box, you can click that on. And then rotate. So I have a little rotate option here. I can just enter 28 in that box. And then with my move tool, I will move it in place under the word holiday, like that. And look, now you never know that I did such a crappy job tracing it over here. You'll never know. Okay, so our next step is, well, it says save your work. So file, save, and then click image on the menu bar and click reveal all. So image, reveal all. And so if I back out, you can see that a lot of these images that are part of my picture, I haven't been seeing the whole time. There's a much bigger artboard to be hidden underneath here. So what we're going to do is crop this so that those go away. So we'll do edit, undo, reveal all, select, and all. And then in the image menu, go to crop. So now it says the image is cropped at the edge of the canvas, all the image end at the canvas edge. You wouldn't be able to reveal all anymore because there's nothing to reveal. So click image on the menu bar and click canvas size. And so you'll get this little fun box. And click once in the width dialog box to the right of 6.573 and type plus 25. So right here at the end, shift plus 0.25. And then tab, do the same thing here. Shift plus 0.25 and tab. And so what I've done here is I've just added 0.25 pixels or whatnot to the existing size so that it's large enough for me to put a frame around it. So this is my current size, and then it shows you my new sizes. So it did the calculations for me. Now click the color picker square at the bottom dialog box. And if your canvas extension color says anything other than other, you just do the drop down and click other. Otherwise, just click the little square and then point to black. And then click OK. And click OK, and that has now created a little frame. So now you'll go in and save your work. And this is it for chapter 3. Yay! All right, thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.